The Mega Man franchise featuring a special feature in it, which is existing to the Robot Masters. You know them, right? The robot that in which you defeat to get zero weapons, and you can get a benefit from zero weapons too. But this conversation is opinionated because this is my favorite Robot Master from each Mega Man games, and it's me, Krabby, and this is my favorite Robot Master from each Mega Man games, as I said before, and let's rock. Gregg Man is my favorite Robot Master from Mega Man 1, and his design reminds me of Joker from Persona 5, but I didn't say Joker is bad or something, he's cool. Like Gregg Man, and Gregg Man is the hardest Robot Master from Mega Man 1. His stage is challenging for the most part, and if you are pro at Mega Man, you'll probably pass this stage easily. His weapons Thunder Beam can be shooted in 3 directions, upward, downward or forward, all at the same time, and also deals a massive damage. That's why I like it so much. As I mentioned before, Gregg Man is probably the hardest Robot Master from Mega Man 1. I know all what he does is just running with the ground and shoots Thunder Beam, and jumping and shoots Thunder Beam. Also, it's kinda unpredictable with these moves, and the screen of the stage or the boss fight room is very small because of these 2 gas blocks, which make it some kind of unfair. And the Thunder Beams deals a massive damage to Mega Man. That's way harder than I expected, but it's still good and makes some a bit of a challenge for Mega Man or the player in general. And there you go, the broken guy himself, Metal Man. Look at this guy's design, it's so brutal, and I like brutality. Don't ask why, but I like brutality. This stage requires you to be very careful because of the crashers, the molds, the conveyor belts. You got the point. And why I call Metal Man broken? Because of his weapon, of course. You guessed it, the Metal Blade. The Metal Blade can be shooted in all 8 directions, and you can spam it, but be careful why spam it because it's sometimes glitchy, like in this gameplay right there. Metal Man himself is broken. If you keep shooting at him Mega Buster, he will keep shooting at you Metal Blades. You gotta keep that in mind, Metal Blades are hard to avoid. And if you approach to Metal Man, he'll jump to the other side and begin shooting Metal Blades at you. And also he can change the direction of the conveyor belts. Makes it a bit of a challenge, but it's very neat. Magnet Man, you are my favorite Robot Master from Mega Man 3, which because your design is pretty awesome, and somehow you reminds me of Ninja more than Gyro Man. I know Gyro Man is basically a ninja robot, but Magnet Man reminds me more of it. I know that's weird, but don't judge me about that. The stage is basically in some point is just challenging, and the other point is just fun. I really like that, and I really like the music theme too. Probably my favorite from Mega Man 3. Magnet Missile is just so fun to use. I know it consumes so quickly, but I don't complain about that. And also it's very situational because if you shoot Magnet Missile, it will be aimed up or down, depends on the enemy's placements. That actually makes sense because magnets can be attracted to metals. Magnet Man himself is unique. He jumps around the stage, and sometimes he jumps high to shoot 3 magnet missiles that can be homed at you. And sometimes he uses his attraction force to attract you for damage contact. Gregg Man, the best Robot Master from Mega Man 4 for me. What makes me like this guy more than the other Robot Master from Mega Man 4 is his design, of course, and his color. His design is really cool, but his color combination is more cooler. I really like the orange and yellow combination color. It's my favorite, besides the green color, of course. His level is basically decent. Yeah, it's a bit hard in some particular sections, but still decent. Also, stage contain 4 mini bosses. Yeah, that's too much, but they are easy to deal with. Ring Boomerang is the best weapon from MegaMan 4 according to me. Why? Because it can be shielded enemy, it deals a decent damage, and it can deal the damage twice. Why? Because it's a boomerang weapon, so it returns back to you, so it deals another damage to the enemy. Ring Man himself is hard because of his ring boomerangs, so you gotta be careful while buying Ring Man because of his ring boomerangs, because these ring boomerangs are much more faster and tricky. His battle requires to be more focused on ring boomerangs than Ring Man himself, so you gotta be careful. But I still like Ring Man so much. Gyro Man, because why not? He looks cool. Gyro Man stage is basically like Ring Man stage, but it has quite a few features, like moving platforms, which they are quite tricky sometimes, and falling blocks, which they require to keep moving and don't stop or you will fall. Besides that, there are some enemies above you trying to interrupt you, and an elevator. Wait, that's not the real elevator, that's the real elevator. The gyro attack is quite fun to use, especially because you can control it up or down, depends on your commands, and it's powerful, and the weapon color is green, so that's the point. Gyro Man himself is fun too. He starts by throwing a gyro attack at you and he can control it, so be careful, and he will hide in the skies and try to shoot a gyro attack at you, so be careful too, and he will try to land on you. Gyro Man is the best. Now it's time for my real favorite robot master of all time. Nightman is easily my favorite robot master of all time. Let's see why I like him so much. First, his design. Look at this badass. You can't look at him without saying anything great about him. Secondly, Mega Man 6 is my favorite Mega Man game from the classic series, so that's a point. Nightman stage is just challenging in some point and the other is just fun. The Night Crusher is a very great weapon. You can shoot it diagonally up, diagonally down and forward. Its range is very great and it deals a lot of damage, and it's a boomerang weapon, so it deals a damage twice. Nightman's battle is very interesting and very great in my opinion. He starts by throwing his maze ball at you no matter the distance between you and Nightman, and while he's shielded with his shield you can attack him of course. You just need to wait until he jumps to have the opportunity to attack him from behind. I really love everything about Nightman.
Meow?
Yeah, I like Fury. Overall, he looks like a cat, but he still looks very great. His stage is very fun. I really like the girder gimmick in this stage. It gives some sort of challenge or something. His weapons, the break dash, is very powerful. I know its default attack is just a buster shot, but if you charge it, it will make you dash along the ground and while you're invincible and dealing some damage to some enemies. It's still good, so I used it a lot. Lotus battle is fun. You start by throwing some slashes at you and you turn to spark along the ground and you cling to walls until you're at a high spot, then throwing missiles at you. It's still a fun boss. I really like him. Man's design is my favorite because he is based on a racing car. Now that's cool, but overall he looks great. Turbo Man's stage is very great too. There is a mini boss at the beginning of the stage which he starts chasing you while you are dealing with some enemies in front of you. However, the mini boss itself is chasing you slowly, so it makes an opportunity for you to deal with the enemies that are in front of you and deal with the mini boss itself. And there is a tire section which it requires momentum, and then there is and after that there is oh my god, there is an inspiration of Yellow Devil and the Force Beam from Quick Man stage. At least they are balanced in the stage. And anyway, his weapon, the Scorch Wheel, is not bad and also is not great. You can't just hold the Scorch Wheel for just a temporary of time. It crawled along the ground, but if it made a contact with an wall or an obstacle, it vanished. At least it deals a decent damage and it can light its candles. Turbo Man's battle is quite hard too. He will launch his Scorch Wheel at you, but be careful because if you made a contact with the Scorch Wheel, you will get stunned. And Turbo Man will try to attract you by his steam engine, but this attraction force is very strong. Then Turbo Man will transform into his Crash Drive form, attempting to crash you. I honestly still like Turbo Man, despite his weapon being sucked, but I still like him. Tango Man, one of the coolest robot master out there. He has a slick design which is probably the best in MegaMan 8. His stage has a strong wing gimmick and some platforms that pop out from beneath the screen, and combining these two gimmicks makes it a little bit tricky to pass. And a nice bubble gimmick sections which it requires an accuracy, and a rush shed section which I really found it fun. The tornado hold is great and useful in some points, like blocking projectiles, can hold you up and it deals multiple hits. Tango Man's fight is difficult, but at least it has barrier. He starts by flying around above Mega Man. He has a Yamarashi attack, which is basically a sphere-like wind attack, I think, that can capture Mega Man for a while and deals multiple damage for him, and it can drop him. And of course he has his tornado hold, which it can crawl on the ground for a bit, and if you get captured by it, it will hold you up and then Tango Man will come to you and smash your butt to the ground. And oftenly Tango Man tries to dive towards Mega Man and then he tries to land on him. Slick design, awesome weapon, great stage, and amazing boss fight. Of course he will be my favorite. Man's design is simple, but I like it. I like how he looks in his design. His level is much more balanced and much more good. The only two challenging things in this stage were the mini boss and the ice cube generator section. His weapon is very great and very cool weapon if you ask me. It deals a decent damage and it can be used as a platform. You can stand on it and you can double jump with it. His battle is basic and balanced. He starts by creating an ice wall that he can push over the ground, and he creates small cloud enemies to slow you down, and he can create an aurora energy beneath you to freeze you for a bit. It's not a lame boss fight, it's just creative and great. Tornado Man, why not? He looks very great and he looks heroic and also is green, that's a point. His stage is very great, especially because of his theme song stage. It's very relaxing. I really liked his stage too. I really like the magnet platform section and the ring gimmick section. They are very awesome. His weapon is basically deadly because it's a screen nuke weapon. It also gives a small extra jump for Mega Man, and it blows his platforms over there. Tornado Man's battle is basic and balanced like Cold Man, but is more dangerous because of the ceiling spikes in his room. He starts things up by using his Tornado Blow, which it gives an extra high jump unlike his weapons, the Tornado Blow. And he will try to land on you. It's a balanced boss fight, but it's still great. Nitro Man, the coolest robot master from Mega Man 10. Of course, he would be my favorite. He is cool as I mentioned before, and his stage is very great, especially for his theme song. The stage itself is very great. I really like the main gimmick in the stage, which is the robotic transportation, which they are very enjoyable. His weapon is very great. You can use it as a defensive weapon, and you can use it to climb up wall faster, and it can crawl on the ground or walls. Nitro Man himself is a fun boss. He will transform to his motorcycle mode, attempting to crashing you. Then he will climb up the walls, then he will throw another 2 wheel cars at you, but be careful because these 2 wheel cars are much more tricky. So basically Nitro Man is in the fun scenario. Fuse Man, he looks edgy. I mean, who doesn't like edginess? And he looks similar to Tornado Man, but overall he looks great. I really love his stage. It's very great, especially because it's full of electricity. A fun fact, my favorite element is electricity. The gimmicks in the stage are in the creative way. Yeah, they are hard in some point, but that's what makes them challenging. I know, man, look at the mini-boss, he looks cute and cool. He's wearing a sunglasses. Who dare to hate this mini-boss? It looks very cool. The Scramble Thunder is the best crawling weapon from the classic series. It can pierce shielded enemies and it deals a lot of damage. It crawls on ground, walls or ceiling, and it crawls for a long time. And while using it to his power gear, it goes very insane. Fuse Man's battle is hectic as heck. Fuse Man starts by casting 2 spheres of electricity, one up and the other down. Then Fuse Man will teleport above Mega Man and cast his Scramble Thunder towards it. Also, the 2 electric spheres that Fuse Man had casted will begin to move on the rails that is around the room in a clockwise motion. Once Fuse Man is at low health, he will activate his speed gear. His speed will increase and his new method of attack will be teleporting the top and then slam back down to damage the blue bomber. Fun fact before I finish with Fuse Man, did you know that Fuse Man has a rabbit called what? Yeah, it's very cute despite Fuse Man's edgy looking. Okay guys, that's all for today. Thank you all for watching my favorite robot master from each Mega Man game. It's me, Robbie, and hope you all have a nice day and see you all next time.